Ladies and gentlemen, Good morning, everybody. It's 8:43. Lou, Brent Rusky, and Jason Parkin here, being joined by John Liepa. He is an expert when it comes to baseball, so much so, he is going to tell you how Iowa met baseball. Incredible speech you're going to have tomorrow night at the Central Library. Tell everybody a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'll be discussing some of the myths regarding the beginnings of baseball. There are a lot of myths in terms of who started it and when. The biggest one is that Abner Doubleday.
We were going to say Abner Doubleday.
In 1839, on the shores of Lake Otsego, drew a diamond shape in the sand for kids from two schools and so on, and that he was primarily responsible. That's a total myth.
Come on. It is? Are you serious?
Most of the world still believes it, except for Bud Selig and Tim Kirchin. Most of the historians have dispelled that a long time ago. Doubleday had little to do with it.
Wow.
Well, in 1839, he was a cadet at West Point Military Academy. And whether it's 1839 or 2015, West Point doesn't give you the summer off to go home and event baseball. And there are diaries, about 67 diaries.
Well, then who invented baseball then?
No one invented baseball. Baseball evolved out of a lot of games that are much older. Games like rounders and town ball, children's games and so on, one cat. And various aspects of the modern day game evolved out of a variety of different games that predated. Going all the way back to the Revolutionary days, there are excerpts in diaries of soldiers with George Washington at Valley Forge where they talk about baseball. And these were children's games and so on. So, but I'll be discussing basically the beginnings of the game. If you want to really give someone credit for giving us something that approximates the modern day game, Alexander Cartwright in New York City played for a team called the Knickerbockers in 1845. He sat down with members of his team, including a guy named Doc Adams and so on, and they put together something that looks like the modern day game in terms of the diamond shape and the 9 innings and set positions and things like that.
They determined how far the bases were?
Yeah, the 90 feet between the bases and so on. Pitcher's mound was only 45 feet at the time, and pitching was very different. It had to be underhand and so on. And he wasn't called a pitcher, he was called a feeder. And you know, it wasn't a batter, he was a striker. And the purpose was not to strike him out. The purpose was to basically deliver the ball to where the batter requested it. And you know, and there weren't a lot of home runs hit. No, it was mostly a game of slapping the ball to where, you know, fielders weren't. And you had another way of getting them out. It was called plugging or soaking. And if a base runner did get on base when he was running from base to base, you could actually throw the ball at him, and if you hit him, he was out.
That would be more fun. That would put the fun back in the game.
Could you throw the bat at him as well?
No, just the ball.
If you binged him, he was out.
Yep.
I think I like this. Let's bring that
I like that idea.
Keep the helmet on.
The ball was a lot softer, guys.
Use that for the All-Star game.
Yeah, it didn't work. So, yeah, I'll be talking about the origins of the game, and I'll be sharing part of my collection. I have a collection that goes back to the 1860s cards, and I brought with me one of the cards of Iowa's first professional player, and that's who I'm dressed as. Again, he was a young kid from Montrose, Iowa. Calvin Mcrae was his name, and he was asked to play on the 1869 Cincinnati Red Stockings by Harry and George Wright, who put the team together. And that was the first all-professional team. McVeigh was only 18, so he couldn't sign the contract. His father William had to sign it for him.
And that's that one?
And this is Calvin McVeigh.
Hold that to the camera there so you can see it.
Calvin McVeigh. This is a picture in civilian dress. He played the first 2 years with Cincinnati, and then after that he played for a couple of years with Boston. But he had a 15-year career. And a lot of Iowans aren't aware of this, but he was one of only 2 Iowans to bat 400. He is in the Iowa Hall of Fame, and played a really critical role in the first decade or so of the organization, you know, the beginnings of baseball.
And it was called the Red Stockings?
Red Stockings, Cincinnati Red Stockings.
You said he batted 400?
He batted over 400. Yeah, his career, he has the second highest career batting average of any Iowan to have played the game. And a lot of Iowans are totally unaware that he even existed. I've been down to the little town of Montrose. It's on the Mississippi River, about 6 miles north of Keokuk. And I'm working with people that live there to try and put that little town on the map. We're trying to we have a plaque now in town recognizing Calvin McVeigh's contribution, but we'd like to get one on the highway too with the Department of Transportation, birthplace of Iowa's first professional player. And then I also brought with me, this is America's first commercial baseball card. It actually depicts the 1869 Red Stockings, and Calvin McVeigh is in the card. There are only 23 of these cards known. And so I'll be bringing a large part of my collection with me to the Des Moines Public Library tomorrow night, and it'll be on display from 5 to 6 o'clock, and then I'll do my presentation at 6 o'clock.
What is that worth, do you think?
It's worth quite a bit. Some of you may remember a story about 2 years ago where a nun had found a copy of this card, and some shysters tried to purchase it from her for $50 or $100.
Yeah.
She ended up on GLNO, and it sold for $68,000. Wow. And so it's genuinely rare, and there only are a few of these. It's one of the prizes in my collection, and it'll be on display. I have a lot of cards that focus on the 200 Iowans that have made it to the major leagues. There are 7 in the Hall of Fame out of those 200. And
who are the 7 guys in the Hall of Fame?
Besides
Bob Feller.
The easy way to remember it is if you can remember ABCFFV. That's the first letter, okay, of their last name. Cap Anson is the A, okay, and Dave Bancroft of Sioux City is the B. Fred Clark, who was born near Winterset, is the first, or is the C. And the first step, Urban Faber, a great pitcher from up in Cascade and so on. And then, of course, you mentioned Bob Feller is the second F. And Dazzy Vance is the V. And then one that was inducted in 2006 with Negro League players, his name is Jael Wilkinson. And again, a lot of people are a little bit surprised why he went in with a group of Negro League players, because first of all, he's white, and second, he never played baseball. But
that would kind of make people wonder why he got in.
Well, he was a terrific promoter of baseball, and he was primarily responsible for putting together the Kansas City Monarchs. He discovered Willie Mays, Satchel Paige. He discovered a lot of the great black players, and he was the only white manager in the Negro Leagues in the 1920s and 30s. Here in Iowa, he put together a team called the All Nations team, and it was made up of players from 6 different countries, including a woman that played on the team and so on. She was 6 feet 2 inches tall and played first base.
Nice target. Yeah.
And so he was just a great promoter. He lived in Des Moines for a brief time. He's originally from Algona. So ABC, FFVW, the 7 Hall of Famers.
That is great.
And I'll have on display a lot of the cards for a couple of those players, Cap Anson and Fred Clark tomorrow.
All right, let's review where you're going to be tomorrow. This is going to be pretty cool. If you're a baseball fan, you need to go to the Central Library, folks, and check this out. Again, what does it cost to get in?
It's free.
It's free.
Open to the public.
Our favorite price of all. DMPL.org for more information on this, how Iowa met baseball. He'll tell you all about the players that are in there. You said that some players just had one at bat.
Yeah. There's a great expression, 19th century expression, that they stopped in for a cup of coffee. I think it's really appropriate. Their careers are very short.
That is. Who do we have currently playing?
We have Jeremy Hellickson and so on was traded down to Arizona. You've got Ryan Sweeney from Cedar Rapids. I think there are about 4 or 5, but Joe Hanrahan's status, he's been on injured status for a while and so on. Not very many from Iowa right now.
Great.
So.
Well, have fun tomorrow night, and great to have you stop over.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being here, sir.
Really
Thank you so much.